Hello, my dark history friends, and stop right now and think about the most
Haunted hotel in America.
the one that launched an entire horror mythology. That's the Stanley Hotel. Forget the tours, forget the movie, because today we'll be talking about the truth. The truth that they don't want you to know. Because the hotel itself, it didn't inspire a book. It just kind of downloaded a nightmare right into Stephen King's brain. And I know that you're very frustrated because you want to know the truth. You want to believe, but you lack evidence.
The Stanley Hotel is the most famous and most haunted location in the United States.
Tonight we're here at the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado.
Clearly haunted Stanley Hotel.
So you want the truth? Why don't we go ahead and try to actually find it this time? And as always, every detail in this presentation, as you would say, and geological facts and other facts, all in the description below. Look, okay, I am so with you. I get that feeling. Okay, you book a room and you look at the mattress and you just think, oh, all that accumulated human energy, okay, it's tragedy, sadness, or whatever. We have residue that we leave behind. And I truly believe that these old buildings really trap it. But the Stanley Hotel, it is not just a mystery, but it is also has a rich background story. And the fact that you feel so icky is actually a very valid pain point. And there's something that the tour guides are just simply not telling you. And if you only knew that this land meant a lot of power struggle way before the hotel was even built. Imagine it's 1909, okay? We have to start with the creator, F.O. Stanley. He's a visionary. He invented the steamer and he had a fortune. But he got the diagnosis, TB, a death sentence back then. And his choice? Get to Colorado now. He didn't go there to die. He went to Defy. He cheated death. His wife, Flora, hated the altitude, but she stayed by his side until she died in their home nearby. And he poured every ounce of his renewed life force into this very structure. So this hotel is pure survival. Now, can you imagine how much time they both spent just getting that hotel up and running? From building it at Estes Park up until it actually stood on the ground, and they worked their butts off up until they both passed away. This is a lot of energy someone puts into a building that's almost half of their entire lives. But okay, this is enough of the past for right now. Let's dive into the real reason why people get the spooky vibes when they get to the Stanley Hotel. Forget about the general spooky stuff, and we're just diving in the specific spots at the Stanley Hotel. What is it about the hotel that makes people want to just grab their stuff and run out? Today we're talking about room 217, but it's not the only hot zone actually. So from the grand staircase to the infamous fourth floor, we are dissecting the actual reported hauntings, not just the ghost stories. So you want to know where the energy is trapped? I will try to figure it out for you. Okay, so you go to the Stanley Hotel and you tell me, oh, it's haunted. Well, where exactly, Captain Obvious? No, I do not believe that a ghost just spontaneously rang your bell.
Is there a reason that you're still here? Yes. Are you still here because you passed away here? Did you die here somewhere on these grounds? Yes.
But I mean, contrary to what a lot of ghost hunters believe here on YouTube, no, I'm sorry, but I do not believe that Lord Dunraven opened the door for you just because you dramatically asked for a sign.
It sounded like a door closed.
Oh my god, that was loud. So let's start with the big one. Room 217. And this isn't just the room, okay? This is ground zero. It inspired King. It has the history that screams trauma. Why? Well, we'll talk about it, that one, later in the video. But now I can give away what guests reported. They wake up and their clothes are neatly folded. Their shoes are lined up. This invisible force, it is literally still performing chores. And get this, okay? Unmarried male guests in bed sometimes report feeling a cold presence, an invisible nudge between them and their female companions. So it's like it is still on duty, keeping a watchful, old-fashioned eye. But this is all I say for now, so let's listen for the next one. The 4th floor. Okay, so now the entire 4th floor, it's a whole different vibe. This used to be the servants' rooms, small rooms. They were filled with kids. Imagine, so who haunts it? Exactly, children. Lucy specifically is also mentioned. But you know, in rooms like 401, 407, and 428, guests hear giggling, hear running, just kind of footsteps, like those tiny little feet just, just running around the hallway, even when the hotel is dead quiet. So this is specifically reported in room 418, where you just can feel the spirit of the little children running around and laughing, giggling, doing all kinds of different things what kids usually do. It's kind of like their echoes of innocence is still partly stuck there. And in room 407, they say you get the scent of pipe tobacco. Now that's supposedly Lord Dunraven, the previous landowner. Though, fun fact, some sources argue he may not have even stepped a foot in the finished hotel. But I mean, hey, if the energy is strong enough, maybe it just creates a ghost for him anyway, right? You have the architectural heart of the place, the grand staircase and the ballroom. This is where actually Flora Stanley, which was F.O.'s wife, makes her presence known. This is not really such a dark or scary haunting. People describe it as elegant. People report hearing the beautiful, intricate melodies of an antique piano playing in the ballroom late at night. The music just fills the space, but the moment someone walks towards the door, it stops. Just silence. It's like she's still holding court, still enjoying her music, but she's kind of shy, and on this grand staircase itself, people often capture shadowy figures in photos. It is a very visually active spot. And then finally, the concert hall. This is where things get a bit more assertive, because you have Paul, apparently a former employee known for being a stickler for rules. Objects move, doors lock by themselves, and some guests and investigators even hear disembodied voices distinctly telling them to get out. And Paul clearly doesn't appreciate uninvited guests in his domain. So it's not just a ghost. It's a spectrum of activity, from the repetitive trauma in 217 to the playful children on the 4th floor, the elegant music of Flora, and the territorial warnings of Paul. Each has its own distinct echo. And that, my friends, is the real story of what makes the Stanley Hotel so mysterious. Okay, now for the real trauma, okay? Everyone talks about that this hotel is haunted and that guests and staff died there. But get this. I did my research, okay? And there is almost no death recorded at the Stanley Hotel. And before you say,
No. People have died there. Blah, 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 blah.
like, show me the actual records. We're just simply missing the actual confirmation on that part. So what is screaming? Well, you have to actually look at the violence problem in room number 217. Imagine poor Elizabeth Wilson, the head chambermaid. It's 1911. The power goes out. There's a gas leak. She walks in room 217 with a candle. Boom. She's violently launched through the floor. She survives, works there for decades with broken ankles, but her life was almost ripped out of her body in an instant. So that's not a spirit, guys. That's a moment of explosive primal terror that trauma bonded to the room. Guests still wake up to their clothes neatly folded. Why did Stephen King dream about a coiled fire hose chasing his son down the hallway while he stayed in room 217 in the 70s? I don't know. It could be several different things. I mean, you can read books, those dream books, so you can open up and you see what coiled fire hose means. Actually, let's go ahead and look that up right now. Hose. Meaning symbolism of a coiled fire hose, if you dream about it. A coiled fire hose indicates that one is prepared to respond to emergencies or challenges. It can mean control. It suggests that a sense of control over one's emotions or situations, as the hose is neatly coiled and ready for use. Or potential energy. The coiled shape represents stored energy that can be released when needed, reflecting untapped potential in waking life. There are several different things a coiled fire hose could mean in Stephen King's case. I mean, we all know he's been a really great and successful author of a lot of books, even before The Shining. So he actually took a break from, I guess, was it like writing or filming one of his books? And he was there at that hotel to get some rest with his family. And this is whenever he dreamt about a fire hose, coiled fire hose, chasing his son down the hallway. Anyway, so this is the meaning of the dream. Now, if we go back and check out the story about Stephen King and why he had that dream specifically in this room, I don't know if he knew that there was a explosion in that room itself. Did he know about it before? I would love to know that. Someone please ask Stephen King if he knew about that explosion that happened back in 1911, where poor Elizabeth Wilson was just thrown, down in the dining area and survived with 2 broken ankles. So, I mean, that is something that not only is the proof beneath the foundation, but the hotel is also built on a massive deposit of quartz and limestone. This is actually the secret, you guys. This is the point of difference from every other haunting story you've ever heard. Now, combine this fact with some of the historical events of Estes Park, which is where the Stanley stands. Native Americans have resided here for centuries, way before European settlers came. People have gathered here on this bare land because of its beauty, the wilderness, and opportunities. People celebrated and held rituals. The ground has seen blood. It is all in the soil. So the traces of the history of greed, grief, joy, and death are found in the soil. The soil holds quartz and limestone. Stanley used the material to build the hotel. Look, so we trust the science every day, right? Look at your wrist. If you wear a quartz watch, you're relying on the piezoelectric effect. When you apply voltage to that tiny crystal, it vibrates as a precise frequency. Science, weirdly, accepts this. But we know that when quartz is struck, it produces voltage. So if these stones are constantly vibrating, constantly pulsing with the voltage of the past, then the dust we breathe in isn't just dead matter at that point, it's actually active. So when we ingest those microscopic particles of quartz and limestone, we are taking those ancient vibrations into our own bodies, and we are literally tuning ourselves into the frequency of the land's trauma. The quartz records the event, and the limestone anchors the fallout. The stones that built the hotel could be the stones trapping the horror. That's just my theory, but what do you think? Think about the dust in this place. If limestone can retain traces of the past, then every time a guest breathes in or drinks the water there, they are ingesting the memories of this land. They are essentially digesting the trauma of what happened here. The settlers, the battles, the blood spilled over the soil, spent millions restoring the Stanley Hotel. They tried to clean it up, but you cannot clean up a feeling. You cannot paint over an emotion or explosion, and you cannot paint over trauma. And most definitely, you cannot paint over the amount of energy someone puts into a place like the Stanley Hotel. So, what if a spirit stays not because they're tragically trapped, but because they deeply, really deeply love a place? I mean, maybe they invested so much time, effort, and happiness into that place, in that location. So it became kind of like a treasure chest holding their life's work. They return because the place, it isn't just a house or field, it's just a piece of who they really are. It's a part of their heart. They loved so much. They just couldn't leave it behind. So even trauma can do this to you. Trauma actually transforms you. So maybe it's a transformation of trauma that bonds some souls to a place or even an item. Like watching my own kids with their favorite toys made me kind of realize as well something important, okay? They aren't clinging to the item itself, but the relationship they have built with it. So the toy acts as an anchor for an emotion, a feeling of like safety, I guess, that transcends its material form. Now, we covered the King's Nightmare, the Stanley's Defiance, and the explosive trauma of 217, and the unsettling truth that our very own definition of fact might be flawed. So, the next time you feel that icy dread, don't just ask who's haunting, ask why is the building still talking? Have a good night.